Welcome back to the Messianic Hour. I'm your host, Rabbi Scott. The show is dedicated to reaching the lost and educating the found. I want to encourage you to go to our website at rabbiscott.com. On the website, you're going to notice a number of neat things. You can watch and listen to our radio show right there on our website. You can also visit YouTube. Our website station there is The Messianic Hour, all one word. You can check out previous shows and this show as well. Also, while you're there, check out the different teachings. You can also bless Israel and this ministry by planting a tree in Israel as we're getting ready to celebrate the giving of the trees or the counting of the trees. It's a great way to bless Israel, and they need them to restore those that were lost by the fire last year and the previous wars. So it's a great way to bless the land and to really fulfill God's scripture where it tells us when we enter the land that we need to plant trees. And while you're there too, you can check out our Messianic Marketplace, our web store, to get more books and teachings. And you can support this ministry too. We are a listener-supported show. This is a great time as we come into the first of the year. Let us be one of those ministries that you support, and let us help us to go and spread the gospel during this upcoming year. But what I want to talk to you right now is what's going on right now in the Middle East, what's happening in our country as well. As we're hearing right now, the Egyptian government has now been reestablished, and 3/4 of the government is now the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that has been the one backing the Hamas and Fatah and Hezbollah, these groups that are going against Israel, these terrorist groups. And they initially were saying that they were not, what we hear now is they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to keep the treaties. But this wasn't the case years ago. Matter of fact, they're the ones who want to wipe Israel out. So this is going to be a very interesting thing as we see the country and other countries as their governments are forming. What is that relationship going to be with Israel? And this is something that Israel needs to worry about. This is something that us here in the United States have to worry about. We have to remember the only stable government in the Middle East is Israel. The only democratic government, the only government that we can deal with, the only government that's really based on at least a you can also say a Judeo-Christian understanding of the word, but not all the other countries are a Muslim understanding. They want to add in the Sharia law back into their customs. They want to control their people. Very serious about what's taking place. But what we have to understand, I was a little, and if you've listened to the show over the years, we don't take a Republican or Democrat stance. We look at the president and say, yes, he's doing good, no, he's doing bad, especially when it comes to Israel. We showed where President Bush in the past was doing things right. We showed where he was doing things wrong according to his work on Israel. We've done the same thing with President Obama. I was very concerned when I heard his State of the Union. Matter of fact, Nick, I want you to roll that B-roll, please, on it.
We will stand against violence and intimidation. We will stand for the rights and dignity of all human beings, men and women, Christians, Muslims, and Jews.
Did you hear what he just said? He says we're going to be standing for the rights of all people, Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Now, when he said that really struck a chord with me, that the fact that he mentioned Muslims second, why he didn't mention Muslims at all, or even Christians or Jews for that matter, but the order in which he puts that in really gives us an insight to what he is thinking. Matter of fact, it's interesting, in another part he quotes and he says that we are standing with Israel. Unequivocally, they are our allies in the land. That same day, Israel Today, a Messianic online newspaper and magazine from Israel, puts out a article from Denny, the former Prime Minister, former ambassador to Israel, saying that we are farther away from the United States under this president than any other president. We're getting a mixed message here of what's taking place. Here he's saying that we're standing with Israel, yet it wasn't how this country was founded. Remember, we were founded on a Christian Judeo background. Not a Muslim, not a Buddhist, not a Hindu, but the Judeo-Christian understanding and morals. But yet, when he quotes Christian, Muslims, and Jews. This is a problem. This is what we're seeing going on in our country. We've talked about this in the past. He's made comments with the French Prime Minister dealing with the situation with Israel. And the French Prime Minister said, I can't deal with them. And Obama's response was, yeah, well, I had to work with them. Well, guess what? It goes the other way around, too. Netanyahu has to work with us. And what we're seeing here is Israel does not see as strong of an ally as we have in the past with what's going on. And one thing that I'm very concerned about with the upcoming election is, if you're looking at Republican sides, where does the candidate stand on Israel? Mitt Romney has made it very clear, extremely pro-Israel. Matter of fact, he calls the Palestinian terrorists and that he will not negotiate. I heard that from his own voice, not from media. I was in the room when he mentioned that. He's very pro-Israel, very much understands the importance of it. Also, you have Newt Gingrich, who has shown support for Israel in the past, definitely says it, but I want to see where his actions are in it. Very concerned with that in his stance, but he is also saying he is pro-Israel. Both of the two major candidates, though, are showing a pro-Israel stance. I don't know if we can say that with Obama right now, with his stance and his actions, with what has been going on to Israel and with Israel. And Israel certainly does not feel that with this present administration. Under Bush, they were kind of, to be honest, it was a wishy-washy, kind of depends how the tide was going. Although Bush was very much more pro-Israel, he was definitely looking for a two-state solution, something that was not really ideal or really could work for Israel. And this is a key thing to understand as we look at these upcoming elections, where these candidates stand on this and how they're going to try to make peace in the land. The one who really got it right was Reagan, I got to admit. Reagan, when he first came into office, people tried him to get involved in the Middle East process. Our economy started to tank, and he dropped it. And you know what? Our economy took off after that when he realized that we can't put our agenda onto that land, because you know what? It's not the Israel's agenda, it's not the Palestinians' agenda that matters. It's our Messiah's and our God's agenda that matters. And his role and his purpose is to have Yeshua rule not only over Israel and Jerusalem, but all the world, where Jew and Gentile, Arab and Jew, will come and worship him together. So we have to really understand God's purpose and plan in this matter. And I want to encourage our president, let's not take our strongest ally and throw him to the wolves. He's done this in the past. We got to be very careful. Right now you're hearing that Obama's best ally in the Middle East right now is Turkey's prime minister, a staunch Muslim who is right now been going against Israel. These are issues that it affects our country. Why does it affect our country? Because the scripture says so. And the scripture is true. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when God says it, guess what? It's going to happen. I guarantee you cannot find a Hittite, a Jebusite, or any of the other ites. Why? Because God wiped them out. But Israel remains, because that's God's purpose, and Israel's the apple of God's eye. And in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, it says, I will bless those who bless my people Israel, and I will curse those who curse my people. You can look through history and see how this has taken effect, and how when our country and other countries, or even when Israel goes against God's plan, how the land and the people are punished. We need to stand with Israel, not saying that Israel's perfect, and not saying that when Israel's wrong, we have to come against them. But I guarantee you right now, if Israel was going against the Palestinians and killed 5,400 Palestinians, people, that the world would be going against them and sanctions would be all over us. But yet Syria is sitting there killing their own people, and yet the world is doing nothing. Why? Because the UN is controlled by the Muslim nations, and they won't go against their own people. We need to stand up. We need to sit there and say, if you're not going to take care of these things, don't come crying to us when these things start happening. We need to stand with our allies, and we need to protect their safety and to make sure that these groups cannot get power and try to change the world. We are in a very volatile time, and the way our president's going, he needs to lead this country and lead it with an understanding of who our friends are, and our key ally there in that area is Israel. and that's who we need to focus on. I want to encourage you to go to our website, rabbiscott.com, for more information. Sign up for our newsletter. You get the free book, I Have a Friend Who's Jewish, Do You? And a prophecy card tells you about more. All is a free gift just for signing up at Rabbi Scott. Until next week, this is Rabbi Scott saying shalom and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.